When the water washes out, what will we look back as being the biggest bubble? Will it be the $9.7 trillion of negative yielding debt? Will it be high yield bonds, emerging market currencies, Bitcoin?
I think we have a couple of candidates this time.
All right, let's hear them.
I hadn't even thought about the pile of negative yielding debt. That will be one of those, I think, one of those footnotes of this business cycle. That how could we ever get there? Yeah, I mean, because the yields will go up eventually, will normalize, but we will look back and say, how did that happen? How did we buy all this? But I think it's Bitcoin is the defining bubble of this business cycle. All business cycles have one of those really crazy asset bubbles that nobody understands exactly why the prices are going up. I think we're right in the middle of one, and Bitcoin is the classic example.
Why isn't Bitcoin somewhat insulated? Because there isn't that much engagement with the real economy of Bitcoin, is there? I mean, there's some people who are investing a fair amount of money, but if you take the total value of all the Bitcoin, it's not really material.
No, you're right. So it is not a bubble in the sense of 2008. If this bursts, not much will come of it in terms of economic damage, right? But it is just the fact that we all talk about it. It hasn't. If it penetrates us actually on the professional investment side, let me call it that way, I think we get into trouble. As long as it stays outside and we all define it as more gambling than anything else, I think we're fine in terms of economic damage, but it is the headline bubble for this business cycle.
I guess the reason why I was surprised that you said that negative yielding debt was a footnote is because $9.7 trillion doesn't sound like a footnote to me. And I'm trying to imagine this unwinding in a way that isn't profoundly damaging. Do you see a sort of orderly unwind of this current regime, or is that even possible?
No, I do see an orderly unwind because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're buying those kind of assets, it doesn't really matter whether they're negative yielding or not. You're buying them on price, right? And the negative yield is just an artificial barrier that we're broken.
So if you get your money back, it's fine.
There's no reason to buy any asset that yields 0.05%, for example, right? You're not buying this for the return. You're buying it for some other reason, and that's the reason why people buy negative yielding debt. So I think the normalization is happening now with central banks raising interest rates, and I don't think any economic damage will come of it. That's why I'm thinking more footnote.